It was a quiet night in the city. The streets outside were almost empty, and only the sound of a passing car broke the silence. Inside her small apartment, Sarah lay in bed, trying to sleep. She had lived alone for many months, and she liked the peace. But that night was different. Sarah heard something. At first, it was soft like a faint scratching sound. She thought maybe it was just the wind against the window. She pulled the blanket closer and closed her eyes. Then it came again. Louder this time. A shuffle. A step. Sarah's heart jumped. Someone was inside her apartment. She sat up quickly and looked around. The room was dark, only the streetlight from outside glowing through the curtains. She grabbed the small lamp on her bedside table and switched it on. That was the moment she saw him standing near the corner of her room was not a man, not a thief, not anyone human. It was something else. His skin was pale silver, almost glowing under the light. His eyes were too large, round, and bright, like liquid glass. His body was tall, thin, and strange, covered in patterns that looked like moving tattoos. Sarah gasped and froze. The creature lifted his hands slowly, as if to show he had no weapon. His voice was soft, broken, like he had never spoken human words before. I mean, no harm. Sarah's breath came fast. She wanted to scream, but something in his voice stopped her. It was calm. It was almost afraid. "Who are you?" she whispered. The alien blinked, tilting his head like he didn't fully understand. "Lost," he said at last. "I am lost." Sarah swallowed hard. She thought maybe she was dreaming. Maybe she had gone crazy from being alone for too long. But no, the creature was real. His shadow moved on the wall. His breath was real. "What do you want from me?" she asked, her voice shaking. The alien stepped back, pressing his thin hands against his chest. "Shelter," he said. "Just shelter." Sarah's mind raced. She should call the police. She should run. But as she looked at him, she realized something. He was not attacking. He was not dangerous. In fact, he looked more lost and lonely than she had ever seen in anyone. Her hand slowly lowered from the lamp switch. You can't stay here," she said. The alien lowered his head. His body shook as if he was weak or hurt. Sarah noticed small marks, burns, on his skin. He looked like someone who had been hunted. Against her own fear, something inside her felt pity. She sighed and rubbed her forehead. "Only for tonight," she said. "You can stay here for tonight." The alien's eyes glowed softly. "Grateful," he whispered. The hours passed slowly. Sarah could not sleep. She sat on the couch, watching the strange being sitting quietly across from her. He studied everything: the lamp, the books on the table, even the sound of the refrigerator. Humming. Every time she moved, his head turned quickly, like he was learning. Finally, she asked, "Do you even understand me?" The alien nodded slightly. "Learning your words. Strange, but I learn." Sarah leaned back, crossing her arms. "This is insane," she muttered. "An alien in my apartment." He tilted his head again. "Alien, yes," she said. "Are not from here, not from Earth." He was silent for a long time, then finally said, "No, not from here." By morning, Sarah was exhausted. She had barely closed her eyes all night. But when she walked to the kitchen, she found the alien standing near the window. Staring outside at the rising sun, he looked almost peaceful. Sarah poured herself coffee and shook her head. "What am I doing? I can't just let you live here." The alien turned, his silver eyes soft. "Stay, until safe," he asked carefully. Sarah sighed again. She had no idea what kind of trouble she was walking into. But somehow, she couldn't throw him out. Something about him was different. "Fine," she said. "But if you break anything, You're out. He nodded quickly, like he understood. Days turned into a week. The alien never told her his real name. She started calling him Kale. He followed her rules, stayed quiet, and learned fast. Sometimes he even tried to help with small things, though he didn't always get them right. One evening, Sarah came home from work, tired and frustrated. Kale was sitting on the floor, building something strange from her old wires and batteries. She raised an eyebrow, but let it go. She went to her room to change. She forgot to lock the door. As she pulled off her shirt, the door opened. Sarah spun around, shocked. Kale was standing there, frozen, his strange glowing eyes wide. He looked at her like he had seen something impossible. "Kale," she shouted, pulling the blanket around her body. "Get out." But Kale didn't move. His voice was trembling. I see. Your true form." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about? Get out." Finally, Kale stepped back, his face unreadable. He closed the door slowly. Sarah sat on the bed, her heart racing. She didn't understand what just happened. What did he mean by true form? She was just a human, nothing more. But Kale had looked at her like she was something else, the morning after the strange accident. The apartment felt heavier than usual. Sarah sat at the small table, staring at her untouched cup of coffee. Across from her, Kale sat perfectly still. His silver eyes were downcast, his long fingers tapping lightly on the wood as if trying to mimic human habits. Neither spoke. Sarah's mind kept replaying last night. The door opening, his shocked stare. His trembling words, "I see your true form." Her cheeks burned at the memory. She had shouted at him, but it was not just anger, it was confusion, fear. What had he seen in her? She was just normal. Nothing special. Finally, she broke the silence. "You can't do that again. Ever." Kale lifted his head slowly. His voice was quiet, not on purpose. Sarah frowned. "Then what was that? Why did you say I had some true form?" For a moment, Kale did not answer. His eyes flickered like a storm was passing behind them. "Because," he whispered, "you are not only human." Sarah froze. The word sent a cold shiver through her body. She forced a laugh. "That's ridiculous. I was born here. I grew up here. I'm human. 100%. Kale tilted his head, studying her as if she were a puzzle. "Maybe you believe. But I saw energy around you, hidden. Until that moment." Sarah pushed back her chair sharply. "Stop. Don't say that again. I don't want to hear it." The alien lowered his gaze. The silence returned. The following days were uneasy. Kale moved carefully around the apartment, like he was afraid of angering her again. He stayed out of her room. He kept quiet, though his glowing eyes always seemed to follow her when she wasn't looking. Sarah tried to act normal. She went to work, she ate dinner, she scrolled through her phone late at night, but deep inside, she couldn't shake the thought. Not only human. Sometimes, when she stood in front of the mirror, she thought she saw a faint shimmer around her skin. Maybe it was just her imagination. Maybe she was just tired. But what if Kale was right? One night, Sarah woke to a sound again. But this time, it was not inside the apartment. It came from outside low, humming, like engines in the sky. She rushed to the window and looked out. Above the buildings, strange lights moved slowly, glowing red and white. They weren't planes. They weren't drones. Her stomach tightened. Behind her, Kale appeared without a sound. His widened at the sight of the lights. His silver skin seemed to pale even more. "They found me," he whispered. Sarah turned sharply. Who? Who found you?" Kale's voice shook for the first time since she met him. "Hunters, They search. They follow the signal. Sarah's heart pounded. Signal? What signal? Cale looked at her with fear in his eyes. Fear not for himself, but for her. Yours. Sarah stumbled back. No, no, this is crazy. You're saying they're after me. Why? I didn't do anything. Cale stepped closer, his voice urgent now. When I saw you. Naked. Your body released light. My people see it, hunters too. They will not stop. Her throat went dry. She shook her head in disbelief. You mean? You saw some kind of aura, and now others can sense it too. Cale nodded slowly. Yes, they will come. Soon. Sarah's knees felt weak. She grabbed the wall to steady herself. This can't be real. This can't be happening. Outside? The lights in the sky drew closer. The knock came suddenly. Hard, violent. 3 times against her apartment door. Sarah jumped. Cale grabbed her arm and pulled her back from the entrance. Do not answer, he hissed. But the knock came. Again louder this time. A voice followed, calm but firm. Miss Sarah, this is the government. We need to speak with you. Please open the door. Sarah's heart raced. Government. How did they know her name? Cale's grip tightened. His eyes burned like fire. He whispered in her ear, not government. Hunters. The knocking stopped. Silence filled the hall outside. Then, slowly, the handle of her door began to turn. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She whispered, What do we do? Cale's voice was steady, but his body was tense like a drawn bow. Run. The door creaked open, revealing the shadow of a man in a dark suit. But his face was not human. It flickered for a second, revealing scales beneath. Sarah gasped. Cale pulled her back, his silver hand glowing faintly as if energy was building inside him. The man stepped inside. His smile was sharp, his eyes cold. We've been looking for you, he said, his gaze fixed not on Cale, but on Sarah. The apartment door stood half open. The figure in the black suit didn't move right away. He only smiled, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark hallway. Sarah's hands trembled as she held on to Cale's arm. Stay behind me, Cale whispered. Sarah had never heard his voice so sharp before. His body stood tall, his silver skin glowing faintly like a shield. The man stepped forward. His shoes clicked against the floor, but when his face shifted again, Sarah saw it clearly. His skin peeled like a mask, revealing a rough surface underneath. Scales, thin. Sharp teeth glimmered when he spoke. You thought you could hide here. Cale, the hunter, hissed. But you left a trail, and now your little human has shown herself. Sarah's chest tightened. She wanted to shout that she was just human, that she was nothing special. But something deep inside told her the hunters. Words were true. Cale's eyes narrowed. His voice was steady. You will not touch her. The hunter laughed. It was a cold, dry laugh, like broken glass. You think you can stop us? There are more outside. You can't protect her. Sarah's breath quickened. She glanced at the window. More shadows were moving outside the building, shapes in the darkness. They were surrounded. Cale, she whispered urgently, what do they want with me? Cale didn't answer right away. His body glowed brighter, energy pulsing beneath his skin. Finally, he whispered, your light, my light. She repeated in disbelief. Yes, Cale said. What I saw that night, Tide awakened. It is rare, powerful. They want it, they will take it, even if it kills you. Sarah's blood turned cold. She staggered back, shaking her head. No, no, I don't have any light. I don't have anything. But her skin tingled. And in her chest, deep down, she felt warmth. like something inside her was stirring. The hunter lunged suddenly. His form shifted mid-step, his suit tearing apart to reveal a monstrous body-long arms. Clawed hands, scales rippling across his shoulders. Sarah screamed. Cale moved faster. His arms shot forward, releasing a burst of glowing silver energy that cracked like thunder. The hunter flew backward, slamming against the wall with a roar. For a moment, everything was still. Smoke curled in the air, but then more shadows moved through the open door. 3 hunters stepped in, their faces shifting. Between human masks and reptilian forms. Their eyes glowed red. Sarah's knees nearly gave out. "There are too many," she whispered. Cale grabbed her hand. "We run." Now, they dashed through the hallway. Behind them, the hunters growled and hissed, their footsteps shaking the walls. Cale pulled Sarah within human speed, guiding her. Down the stairwell, the building was filled with echoes, doors opening. Frightened voices of neighbors who didn't understand what was happening. Sarah's heart raced so fast she thought it would burst. On the ground floor, they burst through the exit door into the cold night air. But the street was worse. Dozens of glowing eyes moved in the shadows. More hunters waited. Sarah froze. "We can't get out." Cale pulled her close. His voice was urgent. "Listen to me. When I say run, do not stop. Do not look back." Sarah shook her head. "I don't know where to go." Cale touched her chest gently, right over her racing heart. His silver hand glowed. "Your light will guide you." She didn't understand, but she didn't have time. To argue, the hunters closed in. Their bodies shifted fully, now towering, scaled, their claws scraping against the street. One of them hissed, "Give us the girl. The alien can live, but her light is ours." Sarah's legs felt like stone. She couldn't move. Cale stepped in front of her, glowing brighter than she had ever seen. His entire body pulsed with silver fire. "You will not touch her," he growled. And then it happened. The hunters all attacked at once. Claws slashed. Teeth snapped. Cale released a wave of energy so strong it lit up the entire street. Windows shattered, cars shook, and the hunters were thrown back. But Cale staggered, his body weakening from the effort. "Run," Haya shouted. This time, Sarah's body obeyed. Her legs carried her forward, faster than she thought possible. Strangely, the path seemed to open before her like an invisible force was pulling her to safety. Behind her, she heard Cale fighting, the sound of roars and blasts of energy. She wanted to look back, but his voice echoed in her head. "Do not look back." Sarah turned into an alley, her lungs burning. She pressed against the wall, trying to catch her breath. For a moment, it was silent. Then, from the shadows, a figure stepped. Out, not Cale, a hunter. His scaled face twisted into a cruel smile. He raised a long, thin blade, its edge glowing faintly red. Sarah's eyes widened. Her body shook. She had nowhere to run. The hunter whispered, "The light is mine." The golden light faded slowly from Sarah's hands. She stood in the narrow alley, her chest heaving, her skin still glowing faintly. The hunter she had blasted back lay on the ground, groaning in pain, his scaled skin burned by her energy. She stared at her own palms, wide-eyed. What did I just do? Before she could understand, rough hands grabbed her from behind. Sarah gasped, struggling, but it was too late. 2 hunters had appeared, their human disguises gone. They're scaled. Arms wrapped around her tightly, claws digging into her arms. She kicked and screamed, but their grip was iron. "Let me go," she shouted. Cale's voice roared in the distance. But when she turned her head, she saw him falling, his body slamming hard against a wall as 3 hunters pinned him down. His silver glow flickered weakly. Sarah's heart broke. He had fought so hard for her. But now, both of them were trapped. They were dragged into a black vehicle waiting at the end of the alley. The door slammed shut, and inside, the air smelled of metal and smoke. The hunters pushed Sarah into a seat and chained her wrists. Cale, weakened and bleeding silver fluid, was shackled across from her. One of the hunters sat in front, his eyes glowing red in the darkness. "The signal is strong," he said, his voice low and sharp. "Her light has awakened. The masters will be pleased." Sarah's stomach twisted. She looked at Cale desperately. "What are they talking about? What's happening to me?" Cale lifted his head slowly, his voice hoarse. I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner." "Told me what?" she demanded, his silver eyes softened with pain. "Your body carries a hidden seed of my people's power. Long ago, one of us left something behind on this world, a legacy, a spark. You are that spark." Sarah's mouth went dry. "That doesn't make sense. I'm just a girl. I'm nothing special." But deep inside, she remembered the warmth she had felt, the shimmer in the mirror, the golden light that had burst from her chest. Maybe she wasn't ordinary after all. The hunter in front smirked. "You are more than special. You are a weapon." Hours later, they were thrown into a dark cell. Cold walls, no windows, only a dim red light overhead. The chains around Sarah's wrists hummed faintly, draining her energy. Every time she tried to move, the cuffs tightened. Cale was shackled beside her, his silver glow almost gone. He looked weak, but his eyes still burned with determination. Sarah sat close to him. "Cale, tell me the truth. Why do they want me?" He closed his eyes for a moment, then whispered, "Your light can merge with theirs. It can power their weapons. It can control worlds. To them, you are not human. You are fuel." Sarah shivered. The thought of being used like a machine made her sick. "Then, what do we do? How do we get out?" Cale leaned closer, lowering his voice. "They will test you first. That is our chance. If your light answers to you, we escape. But I don't even know how I did it," she whispered desperately. "It just happened." Cale's lips curved faintly, almost like a sad smile. "Sometimes power comes when you stop fearing it." The cell door screeched open. 2 hunters entered, dragging Sarah up by her arms. She struggled, but the chains made her weak. "Let her go." Cale shouted, but they struck him across the face, silencing him. Sarah's chest ached as she was pulled down a long corridor. Machines hummed. Doors hissed open. Finally, it pushed her into a chamber filled with glowing screens and sharp instruments. A tall figure in a long coat stood waiting. His eyes were not human, and his face was cold. "Bring her to the chair," he ordered. Sarah's heart raced. She was forced into a steel seat, her arms strapped down, her legs locked. Strange wires and needles hovered near her skin. "What are you doing to me?" she demanded, her voice trembling. The tall hunter leaned closer, his teeth sharp as a knife. "We are waking the rest of your light. When it shines fully, we will cut it out." Sarah's stomach twisted with terror. Back in the cell, Cale struggled against his chains, his eyes burning with desperation. He could feel her fear even from far away. He closed his eyes and whispered her name. "Sarah, don't let them take it. Your light belongs to you." In the chamber, the machines powered on. Sparks flew. A burning pain shot through Sarah's body. She screamed, her vision blurring, but then something deep inside her flared. A voice, her own voice, echoed in her mind. "Fight back. Do not let them take it." The machines began to shake. The hunters shouted in alarm. Golden light burst from her body, snapping the wires, shattering the screens. Her chains melted away. The tall hunter stumbled back, shielding his eyes. Impossible. he roared. Sarah stood from the chair, her entire body glowing like fire. Her fear was gone now. Only anger remained. The golden light poured out of Sarah like a storm. Machines sparked and exploded around her, wires snapping, glass shattering. The hunters shielded their faces, stumbling back from the force. Sarah stood in the center of the chaos, her hair lifting, slightly as if touched by wind, her eyes glowing like burning stars. Her chains lay melted at her feet. For the first time, she felt something new inside her, not fear, not weakness, but strength. The power was alive, rushing through her veins, demanding to be used. She raised her hand. A wave of golden energy pulsed outward, knocking the hunters against the walls. Their scales smoked where the light touched them. One of them hissed, eyes wide with terror. She cannot be contained. Sarah's voice shook but carried strange authority. I'm not your weapon. I'm not yours to use. Far away, Kale lifted his head as the ground trembled. He could feel her energy rising like the sun. A weak smile touched his lips. She has found it, he whispered. The cell door burst open. Moments later, hunters rushed past him, running toward the chamber. They were panicked now, their confidence broken. Kale pulled against his chains with all the strength he had left. His silver body glowed faintly, but the shackles were strong. Still, he would not stop. Not while Sarah was fighting alone. In the chamber, Sarah's glow dimmed slightly. Her breath came fast. She didn't fully understand what she had done. She only knew it had saved her. The tall hunter in the coat straightened. His face burned, but his eyes still sharp. You are powerful, girl, but you don't control it. Without control, your light will burn you alive. Sarah's chest heaved. Maybe he was right. Her body trembled, and her skin stung from the force. But she refused to give in. Better to burn, she whispered, than to be your prisoner. The hunter snarled and raised a weapon shaped like a spear. Its tip glowed red, humming with energy, designed to pierce through power like hers. Sarah's knees shook. She didn't know if she had enough strength left to stop him. And then, the wall behind them shattered. Kale burst into the chamber, his body glowing faint silver despite his wounds. He had broken free. His eyes locked on Sarah, and for a brief second, the world seemed to still. You're alive, Sarah breathed. Kale's lips curved faintly. I told you I would protect you. The tall hunter snarled. You are both fools. Neither of you will leave this place. Kale stepped forward, his energy building once more. Sarah's golden glow rose to meet his silver light. For the first time, they stood side by side, their powers humming in harmony. The hunters hesitated, fear flickering in their red eyes. The tall hunter roared and lunged forward with his spear. Kale moved first, deflecting the strike with a burst of silver energy. Sparks flew as the weapon clashed against his light. Sarah raised her hand. The golden glow shot forward like a beam, striking the hunter's chest and throwing him across the chamber. The wall shook. The floor cracked, but Sarah staggered, almost falling. The power drained her quickly, leaving her dizzy. Kale caught her before she collapsed. Easy, he said softly. Don't fight alone. Let it flow with me. Sarah looked up into his glowing eyes. For a moment, she felt a strange connection, like their energy wasn't separate anymore, but linked. Her golden light blended with his silver glow, swirling together in waves of white fire. The hunters stepped back in horror. Kale's voice was steady. Now we escape. Together, they released the energy. A blinding wave tore through the chamber, shattering walls, ripping doors from their frames. Hunters screamed as the light consumed them, their bodies disintegrating into ash. When the glow faded, smoke filled the air. Alarms blared across the facility. Sarah leaned against Kale, her body weak. We we did it. Cale nodded, though his body trembled too. Not yet. More will come. We must run now. They stumbled through broken halls, stepping over the ruins of destroyed machines. Red lights flashed everywhere, and distant voices shouted. At last, they reached a heavy exit door. Cale pressed his glowing hand against the lock, melting it open. Cold night air rushed in. They stepped outside into the dark forest that surrounded the facility. The sky above was full of stars, but no peace waited here. Strange ships hovered in the distance, their searchlights sweeping across the trees. Sarah grabbed Cale's arm. Where do we go? They're everywhere. Cale's silver eyes looked deep into hers. We don't run anymore. We survive. Together. Sarah's chest tightened. She nodded slowly. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. But as they moved into the shadows of the forest, a distant roar filled the sky. One of the ships turned sharply, its lights locking directly on them. The forest was silent except for the hum of alien ships above. Sarah and Cale crouched low among the trees, their bodies hidden in the shadows. Her chest still glowed faintly, but the light was weak, flickering like a dying flame. Sarah pressed a hand against her ribs. Her heart felt different, faster, stronger, yet strange. Each beat carried heat through her body, as if something inside her was not human anymore. Cale, she whispered, her voice trembling. What's happening to me? Cale watched her closely. His silver eyes reflected the faint light of her skin. The change, he said softly. It has begun. Sarah shook her head. Change? No, I don't want this. I just want to go back to my normal life. It's my job, my apartment. I want to be me again. Cale's face was calm but serious. Can't go back. Once the light awakens, it never sleeps again. You are more than human now. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She remembered the blast of golden fire in the alley, the way machines melted in the chamber, the way Cale's power merged with hers. She wanted to deny it, but her body told her otherwise. They moved deeper into the forest. Branches snapped under their feet, and every rustle made Sarah flinch. Above them, searchlights swept back and forth. The hunters weren't giving up. After a while, Sarah stumbled. Her knees buckled, and Cale caught her quickly. I can't, she whispered. I feel sick. My body feels too hot. Cale guided her against a tree, helping her sit. He placed his glowing hand gently against her chest. Silver light flowed into her, calming the fire inside her veins. Sarah gasped. What are you doing? Balancing you, Cale said. Your light is wild, unshaped. It needs harmony. Sarah closed her eyes. For a moment, she felt herself sinking into a strange world, not the forest, not Earth, but somewhere deeper. Inside her mind, golden rivers of light flowed. At the center stood Cale, his silver energy weaving into hers like threads. She opened her eyes suddenly, heart racing. I saw you. In my head, like we were connected. Cale nodded slowly. Yes. Our energies touched the first night, when I saw you. Uncovered, that is when the bond awakened. You are linked to me now. Sarah's mouth went dry. Linked. What does that mean? Cale's eyes softened, almost sad. It means your life is tied to mine. If I fall, you fall. If you rise, I rise. Sarah's heart pounded harder. So, this bond, it's because of you. No, Cale said. It's because of us. Before she could answer, a sudden roar broke the stillness. A searchlight beamed down between the trees, blinding them. Sarah scrambled to her feet as hunters landed, their scaled forms advancing through the forest. Cale stood in front of her. Stay behind me. No, Sarah said quickly, surprising herself. She stepped forward, her hands glowing faint gold. If my power is tied to you, then I fight too. Kale looked at her, shocked, then gave the smallest nod. The hunters lunged. Sarah's body moved almost on its own. Golden light burst from her hands, forming a barrier that deflected the hunters' weapons. Kale struck with silver blasts, cutting through their ranks. Together, their lights swirled into one wave, knocking the hunters back into the trees. Sarah's chest burned, but this time she didn't collapse. She felt control. The power was still wild, but with Kale near, it shaped itself. The hunters hissed. In rage, one of them snarled, "The bond makes them stronger. Break it." Sarah's eyes widened. They know about us. Kale's jaw tightened. Yes, that is why they want you. With your light alone, you are dangerous. But with me, you are unstoppable. More hunters appeared, surrounding them. Sarah's glow flickered with fear. There's too many. Kale stepped closer, his voice steady. Then trust me. Let the bond guide you. Sarah closed her eyes. She felt his energy touch hers against silver threads weaving into her golden rivers. For the first time, she let go of fear. Her body lit up like fire. Kale's glow wrapped around her, and together they unleashed a storm of white light. The hunters screamed, blinded and broken. Trees shook, the ground cracked, and the ship above tilted from the force. When the glow faded, silence fell. Only smoke and ash remained where the hunters had stood. Sarah opened her eyes, trembling. Did we kill them? Kale looked around, his face unreadable. Some, others will return. They never stop. Sarah's knees weakened. She leaned against him, her body shaking. I don't want this bond. I don't want this power. Kale placed his hand over hers, his voice soft but firm. The bond chose you. The light chose you. The question now is, will you choose it? Sarah stared at him, her golden glow reflecting in his silver eyes. Deep inside, she already knew the answer, but fear held her tongue. The night sky burned with light as the massive ship descended above the forest. Its engines roared, bending the trees, shaking the ground like an earthquake. The hunters who survived the last blast fell to their knees, bowing toward the ship, as if their master had arrived. Sarah clung to Kale's arm, her golden glow trembling. Her chest pounded, her body still raw from the last fight. Who is that? She whispered. Kale's silver eyes hardened. The warden. The one who commands them all. Sarah's stomach twisted. If the hunters were terrifying, then their leader would be something far worse. The ship's lower hatch opened with a hiss. A tall figure stepped out, his form cloaked in shadow. His skin was darker than the others, scaled like black stone, and his eyes glowed the color of molten lava. He carried no weapon. He didn't need one. His presence alone was crushing, like the weight of a mountain pressing on their chests. Sarah staggered back, gasping for air. Her knees nearly buckled under the pressure. The warden's voice rumbled across the forest, deep and commanding. Child of light, you belong to me. Sarah shook her head violently, fear and anger mixing in her chest. I don't belong to anyone. The warden's lips curled into a thin smile. Your light was never yours. It was a seed planted long ago by the ones who fled. You are only a vessel, and I will take what lies inside you. Kale stepped forward, his silver body glowing brighter. She is not yours. She is not a vessel. She is more. The warden tilted his head, studying Kale with cold disdain. And you, traitor of your kind, you think protecting her will save you. When she breaks, you will break too. Sarah's heart pounded. Every word reminded her of the bond. If she fell, Kale fell. Ku fell. She would too. Hunters emerged from the trees, dozens of them, surrounding the pair again. Their weapons glowed, ready to strike. Kale looked at Sarah, his face steady despite the danger. Listen to me. This is the last fight. The bond is our strength. If you trust it fully, if you trust me, we can end this. Sarah's hands shook. She felt the fire inside. Her growing again, but this time it was overwhelming, almost painful. The thought of releasing it terrified her. What if it destroyed Kale too? I don't know if I can control it, she whispered. Kale's voice softened. You don't need control. You need trust. The warden raised his clawed hand. Take them, the hunters lunged. Sarah closed her eyes, clutching Kale's hand. She let go of fear, let go of doubt. She let the bond open completely, and then it happened. Her golden light surged, not wild this time, but whole. Kale's silver glow merged with hers, twining together into a brilliant storm of white fire. Their bodies lifted slightly off the ground, surrounded by a halo of pure energy. The hunters screamed as the waves spread. Their weapons shattered. Their bodies crumbled into ash. The forest lit up like daylight, but the warden did not fall. He stepped forward through the blaze, his lava eyes burning with fury. Impressive, he growled. But power without mastery is nothing. He raised both arms, summoning dark energy that crackled like lightning. He hurled it at them with the force of a collapsing star. Sarah gasped. Kale held her hand tighter. Together, they pushed back, their bond flaring brighter than ever. Golden and silver light met black lightning in the air. The clash split the ground, tore trees from their roots, and lit the sky in a storm of fire. Sarah screamed as the power surged through her, threatening to tear her apart. Kale's voice echoed in her mind. Hold on. With me, with us, she gritted, her teeth pushing harder. The white fire grew brighter, swallowing the black storm inch by inch. Finally, with a deafening crack, the warden's attack broke. The blast consumed him, tearing through his massive form. He roared in rage, his body cracking like stone before shattering into dust. The forest fell silent. Sarah collapsed to her knees, trembling, the glow fading from her body. Kale knelt beside her, his silver light dim but steady. It's over, she whispered. Kale shook his head gently. No, it has only begun. Sarah looked at him, her heart heavy. What do you mean? He brushed his hand against hers softly. Your light is awake now. Others will come, not just hunters. Some will want to destroy you, some will want to worship you, and some will want to use you. The world you knew is gone. Sarah's throat tightened. She wanted to cry, to scream, to deny it. But deep down, she knew he was right. She had felt the power. She couldn't return to a normal life knot anymore. She looked up at the sky, the stars burning brighter than ever. So what happens to me now? Kale's eyes glowed faint silver as he answered. Now, you decide. Do you hide? Do you run? Or do you rise and accept what you are? Sarah's chest warmed, not with fear this time, but with resolve. She had been hunted, captured, broken, and awakened. She was no longer just human. She was something more. She took Kale's hand firmly. Then, I choose to rise,